we are with video marketing legend, the person that the heroes look to and say, what should I do? Somebody that I met 3 years ago, an absolute queen, an absolute legend of online marketing. My pleasure, my honor, my friend, Brandee Sweesy. How you doing?
Well, thank you so much. What a great opening. I appreciate it. And it really has only been 3 years. I thought it's been longer than that, but yeah, you're probably right. Thank God for Facebook memories. Facebook memories tells us how long things have been.
Exactly.
Right?
And without that and with tequila, nobody would know the difference. So thank you for
exactly
this online.
Exactly.
You and I sat next to each other at a mastermind. It was in San Diego, I think.
Yeah, the JV Zoo event, right?
That's right. And I was blown away to sit with somebody like you. And my little intro there is no joke. Like the people that I've done some interviews already with some really serious video people, and they learned a lot of their stuff from you. And you know, the other day I was looking on Facebook, and you popped up and you said, "Hey, I haven't done a lot in video lately. Should I tell all these halfway gurus what they're doing wrong?" And I was like, yeah, you should actually. That'd be really cool. I don't think you phrase it like that. You're a much nicer person than that. But
no, I do. I call them out a little bit, but I give them a heads up too. Like I'll write them privately and say, hey, I'm going to do this. If you're opposed to it, I'm happy, and so I give them the breakdowns and the conversations, and I give it to them just as a giving forward in the marketplace, but I'm also going to post this on Facebook and call you out. Is that cool with you? And they're like,
very cool.
You know what I mean? And they're like, thank you for the information. Go ahead and post it. And I'm like, okay.
And you know what? Everybody wins in the end, really, don't they? Like that's
exactly. They get the information for free, and I can point out that, and then I get the whatever for calling it out. So yeah.
Now I'm going to talk video with you. I'm fascinated to talk video with you, as you know, because I love what you can do. But before we get into that, you are living in a rustic village in Italy, living the dream of the amazing life that we can do. How did that all come to pass?
It's so funny. I came for a mastermind because you know how we all love our masterminds. So I came for a mastermind in a really small village in Italy. And it was supposed to be about 50 people, and it ended up being like 12, which was totally cool. But whenever I travel, I liked my group, but I also wanted to spend time discovering the area and talking with people. And I mean, the first night I was here, people were inviting me, the locals were inviting me to dinner and all these great adventures. So at the end of the week, when we were all set to go in different directions, I was like, I think I'm staying.
Nice.
And so I stayed another, so I canceled. I was supposed to go up to Northern Italy, over to Malta, and then back to London, and then back to the US. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay another week. And I was like, okay, maybe I should take an apartment. So I got an apartment and I stayed for 9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, I came back to the US to collect my things, right? Because I hadn't packed anything, just the suitcase that I brought with me. Yeah. And so I came back to collect my things. I traveled around quite a bit when I was back in the States, going to events and doing the thing and meeting with clients. And then I was in one state, and I was just like, oh, do I really want to go back to Vegas or even to San Diego? I was like, no, where was the last place I was happy? And I was like, Italy. So I booked my flight that night, and the next day I flew out, and I've been here for 2 years.
Fantastic. That is so cool. I traveled with my family. I traveled for 18 months with wife and 2 young children. And I think that the freedom that this business gives you is just incredible because of that reason.
Absolutely.
Are you staying in Italy? Is that the plan right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've moved every 2 years my entire life. I was born in Florida, and then I've moved my whole life. I just turned 50 in April, and I've moved every 2 years my whole life. So I've lived pretty much everywhere in the States that I've wanted to live.
Nice.
And so that first village that I lived in when I first arrived, I stayed there almost the 2-year mark. And then I was like, I need just a little bit bigger of a village. That village was only 2,500, and in the center, maybe 200. And then I got my car, went to a little bit further south in Italy, stayed in a village down there for about 3 months, wasn't really ecstatic with it. And then a Facebook post, ironically, in one of the expat groups said, hey, can someone watch my cat for a couple weeks in this village that I now live in? I was like, I got nothing. Why not? So I came up here, and same thing. At the end of the 2 weeks, I met so many. I came here on December 19th, and December 21st was the first night that I went out around the village. And everybody was asking me, what are you doing for Christmas? And by the end of the night, I had Christmas Eve plans with an Italian family dinner, like entire Italian family and me. And then some other people were like, well, what are you doing for Christmas Day? And then I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm having lunch with you guys. And then as it turned out, I was like, well, I love this place. I'm staying here now too. So I've been here for almost 6 months now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And how has business affected, or how has your business been affected by living where you live?
It has been adversely. I will say it has been slightly adversely affected, but that was part of the reason why I loved living here, is because I've reached the stage in my life where I just want to live a nice life, right? Yeah. I want to live, you look out, there's beautiful rolling hills. You can see the Adriatic Sea. Some people invited me over for dinner last night, 25 people. We have a big dinner, and it's a great life here. My business, like you even said it before we started the interview, that I've been out of the spotlight. And I think that some of that has to do with Italy, and also just has to do with the stage I'm at in life. I don't need to be the person out there going, look at me, I'm so amazing. I have enough brand equity that I don't feel it.
By the way, I'm still there. So,
Yeah, are you? Yeah. I mean, I probably should. I absolutely should. And so probably my business would be, just booming if I did. But yeah, I mean, I live a good life, and my clients come by referral. And so it's okay.
Life.
So
that's a happy life.
But
so,
I think
you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I think, like, as we know, going to events really always helps businesses, right? You meet a lot of amazing people and stay in contact. And so that would be the only downside that I would say, is that, I don't go to all of the seen and be seen events. I haven't been in a couple of years. So that would be the only thing that I would say would adversely, like if you're going to live abroad. But other than that, but I love my life here, so it's worth it.
And the event, I love the events. The events are probably one of the best things that anybody could ever do for their business. But they're kind of like those American soap operas. You miss them a couple of years, and you can pick that storyline straight back up again. So, like, I'm sure the next time you book the tickets, the conversations will be just in the same exact space they were. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I love the event, and
no, it's true. We're an incestuous little group, yeah. So yeah, naturally the conversations do they in a good and in a good way too, and it is quite funny. And then and then of course there's the bells of the ball, and then it's like, yeah, you're the person that's the talk of the town now, and good for you. And in another year it'll be someone else, and another year it'll be somebody else.
You'll be drinking vodka shots at the back with the rest of us. But
exactly with all the old timers in the back. Yeah, it's true.
So you have had an incredible career, and it's really been centered around video more than anything else. How did that get started for you? Like, how did you pick video as your medium of choice and nail it as well as you did?
I didn't. It was really funny. This, so many years ago. Remember when I was the Hangout Queen, right?
Yeah.
Or as I used to say, the Hangout Hooker. I stumbled upon Hangouts. I was doing like a birthday. I was trying to launch another product, and I did a Google Hangout, and I only posted just on my Facebook personal page, and 600 people showed up to it. Wow. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. And so then I started asking all my marketing friends, well, why aren't we all doing this? If this amount of organic, like no paid traffic, just simply a post on my Facebook page. And I was like, how were these people finding it? And I was trying to figure it all out. And then, so I'll try to go fast through the story. So that I started asking everybody, why aren't we doing them? And so then they're like, well, it's difficult, it's clunky, it's this, it's that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm figure out an easier way to do it. And so I played with it and figured out an easier way to do it, and figured out the marketing benefits for it, and the fact that it was streaming on YouTube. And then people started offering me money, and I was like, but it's free, you know that, right?
In a non
yeah, they were like, I'm like, it's free.
Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, but we want to pay you because you've made it easier. But it's a free platform. And they're like, yeah, but we want to pay you. And then that part of the story, the rest is history there. And so that's what got me on the scene, really. And then I had a product that was a producer's academy that I taught people how to do basically what I was doing, essentially, which is producing Hangouts for a lot of the famous people in the space. And then the same thing with YouTube advertising. I was at a mastermind, of course, and I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, man, I have a theory about this whole YouTube advertising thing. And he's like, let's do it. And I was like, I have no proof of concept. I'm just simply a theory. And he's like, I trust you. Let's do it. And we crushed it. And then so then somebody referred to me a famous client. And so the famous client. I was like, listen, I've only done it once. I don't really have any proof or systems or, when it comes to media buying, when it comes to spending somebody else's money, I'm very buyer beware, right? Like, I'm not making any promises. Like, I did it once and it went really well, but I'm not sure how it's going to go with, what you're pitching. And we crushed it. And I still said that probably by the fifth or sixth person. I was still a little hesitant because I hadn't perfected any type of absolute system to guarantee that it would work for everyone, so, and I still am a little buyer beware with clients. I'm like, hey, I really dislike in our industry when it's click a button and get rich, because that's just not if that was the reality, then everybody would be doing it. Right. Yeah, exactly. A lot of testing, it's a lot of tweaking, there's a lot to it. So it's not, I love YouTube ads, obviously, because I've been doing them for 5 years. But I'm very buyer beware. Like, if you don't have the budget and you don't have the pain threshold to go through the process of testing, it takes time. Even with me, it takes time.
Ron Douglas actually posted something, and Ron posts a lot, as we know. And this is one thing that stayed with me, and it must have been 12 or 18 months ago. So that's how much it stayed with me. He said, any entrepreneur with a decent product who fails has got one of two problems. And the first problem is not enough courage to continue to spend what it takes to tweak the advertising, or B, piss poor follow-up, basically was the second one. And I thought it stayed with me because I was like, how much does it take? I don't have this in my list of questions for you, but what should somebody expect to have to use in terms of investment for getting started with YouTube ads? Like, should they have a Ferrari payment, ready to roll, or what do you reckon people need to have?
You froze for a split second. What do people need to have?
I think as soon as I said a Ferrari down payment, Zoom cut me down. So
okay.
I was saying, like, how much should people think that they need to put aside to really get the testing done, budget-wise?
Yeah, so I'm in the school of thought, bid high, budget low. And when I say bid high, I mean, start off with a cost per view, which was how YouTube originally was doing it. Now you can do CPAs and you can do a lot of different ways, but I still start off with cost per view for the data points, right? Because I'm trying to get the data. So when I say bid high, I'll bid 40 cents a view, and I've never gone over 17 cents a view. Yep. And then I say budget low. And so for me, I've started as low as $25 with clients, and I've started as high as $2,000, $3,000 with clients. So, and I'm also, when it comes to spending your money and my money, but particularly when I'm spending someone else's money, I'm overly cautious for them, right? Because the fact is that you're probably not going to, it's my job to stack it in your favor that we're going to have success pretty quickly, but you just don't know until you launch. And so you're building brand awareness as well, which some people sadly don't see as a positive ROI. So maybe you're not seeing it in the bank account, but your YouTube channel is getting traction and you're getting that brand awareness. And we know that YouTube's the #2 search engine. You've been interviewing a lot of video people, so I'm sure they've told you that. So thinking about that. So I don't have a definitive answer to your question. I think it's just being aware. It's just like when you go to Vegas, like when you gamble, when you're going to gamble, you don't go there to win your electric bill, right? You go there with the amount of money that you can let go of, right? Or break even with. But you don't go in there to, I only have $25 and I'm going to try to win my rent. That's the wrong way to look at it. And sometimes that's how people look at media buying with. They're like, okay, well, I only have $3,000 left and I'm going to launch this campaign and make $100,000, and that's just, sadly not the reality, right? So just having, I think, more of a mindset around it than, every business knows, where they're at in that game. And I always say, give it 3 months, right? When people want their results in a week, you need to go through at least a minimum of a 30-day cycle to actually have accurate data, because you don't know holidays, you don't know, it's summertime, the school's out, school's beginning, there's a lot of different things. So over the span of 30 days, you have better data than you do in, say, 7 days.
Lovely.
7 days is not enough data at all.
Not enough to get an accurate picture. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's,
and that's what you're paying for in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the quicker you can dial that picture in, the quicker you can change everything, which we'll get to in just a second. So can I just ask you for a brag? So we'll get into a couple of other things in a second, but just give me a brag. Like, what's the best campaign, or the most amount of views, or like the biggest ROI? Like, what's the one that you tell people about?
I don't. You know, I really,
Now's your chance.
I'm, you
want
know,
I want the numbers. I want to know. I want to hear the word million in there at least somewhere. You know, like
right.
tell me some views.
Well, it's not based on views, right? So mostly we're not doing views. So yeah, I have tons of people that are at 1 million views. That's easy. Getting the views is easy
A
because
million.
that's just a brand awareness
Okay,
thing. Yeah, getting views are
that's on the bottom of Brandy's page notes today. 1 million views is easy. We'll take that one straight through.
yeah. Well, with advertising,
Right.
not organically. Organically, it's more difficult, but with advertising, 1 million views is easy peasy. Subscribers, same thing. With advertising, again, with advertising, organic is a lot more difficult. Best ROI, oh, I don't know.
Just for the
I
kids.
mean, like, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, because everybody does well, but it is over a span of time. I think that very first client, we had like some insane number. I want to say it was like 400% ROI or something. Like, it was something ludicrous. Um, but that was one of those campaigns where the timing was perfect. The offer was dialed in. The follow-up was essential. People were buying the entire funnel. Yeah. Right. So they weren't even just doing the OTO, like everything was just a well-oiled machine with those guys.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So the advertising was just the cream on top. Yeah. And, like when we were doing, yeah. So it was a personal development product. And we launched a campaign right at the end of the year. So we had the whole New Year's Eve resolution thing going on. So we're riding that wave. January, February, March are always traditionally really good for us in that space. Right, because people want to change their lives because of the new. So it was a lot of like different contributing factors that went into that one. I don't think I've had one like that since then. I mean, I've had some really good ones, but I don't think I've had one quite like that.
Nice.
Well, yeah, so that was the one.
Let me give you a 60-second challenge, and I've done this with a couple of superstars on these interviews already. So my 60-second challenge starts like this: a company comes to you, they've spent stupid money on video production. They have the slickest, best video that you've ever seen. It's absolutely, been produced to a $25,000 budget, and it's amazing. They put it up on YouTube, and they've got 16 views so far, and they are absolutely killing themselves. They come to you and they say, Brandee, please help us to get some traction with this video. What are the things you're going to check and do in 60 seconds?
In 60 seconds, see what the title is, see what the keywords are, see how well they've done that. The biggest thing is that nobody knows how to title their videos properly. And so whenever you think of YouTube as a search engine, right? Like I was talking to another client the other day, how to fix my dryer, how to install a WordPress plugin, how to edit video, how to make Zoom work, right? Everyone's typing in a how-to type of scenario. There's people that are in pain that are trying to find a solution. So you always need to title in that way. For sure. And then in the descriptions, that first 2 lines of the descriptions, you want to have some type of CTA there and making sure that you have a subscribe button and also telling them. I will tell you from an advertising perspective, I would never, ever, ever allow a client to spend that kind of money on an ad ever.
I know.
For me, ads, for me, ads do better just like this.
Yeah. Because
the platform generally is not, so you want an ad not to look like an ad, right? We watch TV all day, every day, and we're just like, you're hovering over the skip ad button, just going, just let me skip the ad, right? That's the brain. But when you do an ad, you want it to be more authentic, more of a one-to-one conversation. You do something too shiny, too flashy, and you don't utilize that first 5 seconds that you have with the people. So that would be, if they were talking advertising, organic, I would change the title. I would look at the keywords, see what the keywords were doing, cool. Look at their thumbnail, their watch time. There's a lot of stuff that you do on the organic side. Nice.
So on the advertising side, talking in that one-to-one voice, face to camera, iPhones up or smartphones up or whatever, is a strong call for you. Like that's a recommended method for you. Do you endorse or do you get behind or do you like or use any of these fancy animation programs? Like, can you put slide videos together? Can you do a Camtasia screen presentation video and get a win with an ad? Or like, is it always face to camera with you?
Well, so I'll answer this because I know there's another person in our space, my quote unquote competitor, who's my friend, right? So I don't consider it a competitor. He does a lot of those slide type videos, but he does a lot of e-com and affiliate marketing, right? And that's not my genre. So he's had great success with it. My clients are generally the coaches, speakers, authors, the Brendan crowd, I call them. There's coach, speaker, author, and online thought leader, right? So those people are face to camera people anyway.
Sure.
I think, if you're going to do e-com, like if you're going to do products, then I think those animated videos probably would go well. I just don't personally have experience, but I know my one friend, he does a ton of those. He does the doodle videos. He does the slide videos. He does a lot of those. And he grew up in the affiliate marketing side of things, whereas I grew up on the other side of it.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've never been an affiliate marketer, so I've never offered another product. So yeah, I think you can have success. I just personally have never tried it.
So interesting. I think because a lot of people have, when they speak to want to be video advertising winners, they say you don't even need to be on camera. And that's, for the ultra shy person, I'd like to say to them, yes, that's true. I mean, there's obviously, there's wins in both sides of that coin, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I see that all the time. Oh, you don't need to be on camera. And that is true. If that's your personality and you don't want to be on camera, then absolutely, I don't think you have to be on camera. Yeah. There's no law for any of this stuff, right? As we know, like we all have our opinions, our theories, our areas of stuff. My expertise just happens to be the clients are camera facing. Yeah. If you're a shy person and you don't want to do that, and you're trying to sell something, and again, it depends on what you're trying to sell. The other reason I like to face the camera is you don't need huge production value. You don't need to go hire somebody to do these edits or do these animations or whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, certainly it is possible. I don't have any experience with it personally.
I've done a bit of both. Do you know what? One of the things you said there was that the production value, you can get so much more just with the camera turned on. Like you don't have to spend $100 or $200 or $500 on stock photography and blah 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 if you can stomach it and turn the camera on. So look, the cameras don't break when I turn it on. So guys, it doesn't matter what you look like, you can have a win. Yeah, hey, Brandee, I'm taking a bunch of your time, and Italy's beautiful. So I just want to fire through some quick ones. Do you do just YouTube, or do you do YouTube and Facebook? Or, do you use any other video platforms except for YouTube, or is that just the one?
I just YouTube. When everybody became Facebook ads experts, I was like, okay, I'm going in the opposite direction, right? So we can in any direction, and there's 1,000 Facebook ad experts. There's a ton of YouTube ad experts, but when I started, it was me and 5 other people that were known in our space. Actually, I think there was only 3 or 4 of us back then, but yeah.
And it's like that. It's that whole repopulate the earth thing, right? The 5 of you have brought all these YouTube experts in. It's very cool. So
exactly.
You talked about in the 60-second answer, which I love, which is actually congruent with everybody else's answer, which is fascinating. You concentrate on the title, the description, the keywords, and the thumbnail. Like that's the answer to making sure you get the right results, right? Do you do any backlinking? Do you backlink any videos at all?
No.
Also a congruent answer.
Yeah, no.
talking to
well, I'm glad we're all on the same page. There's nothing like doing these interviews and then finding out that we're all saying opposite things. Well, at least we're all saying the exact same thing. No?
It's exactly the same. I said to Jamie, actually, was it Jamie or one of the other team? I said, how many backlinks? And he said, you know what? I always follow the same process. I do exactly the same amount of backlinks to every single video, and that's none. Yeah, that'd work.
That's awesome.
So, my other question on that optimization thing is, how else do you optimize it? But I think like title, description, keywords, and thumbnail, like that's the guts of the story, right? I know there's lots of methodology with getting the click within the first 30 seconds and doing all that kind of stuff, which is very how to do YouTube ads. But in terms of actually optimizing the video itself, is there any other optimization things that you go after? How do you do your keywords, for example?
So I don't do keywords for ads or for organic.
So
for organic,
you need to do keywords for organic, I would imagine.
Yeah, so organic, I do all long tail keywords. I've gone into some clients' accounts and I'll see the keywords and it's like Brandee's one keyword, Sweesy's another keyword, you know,
Yeah.
law's another keyword. Like, you know, that makes no sense. So you want those keywords to be congruent. As far as advertising goes, I never start with keywords. I know some people that do have success, but in my experience over the last 10 years, I've never seen anyone keyword tag their video properly, right? Like they just keyword stuff. And so if you're going to do advertising with keywords right out of the gate, it's likely that you're going to show on those crappy, you know, like, well, not crappy, but, you know, on music videos or cute kid videos, or like where none of your clients are hanging out. So I always start with placements first, and then I do the placements. And that's what I'm, you know, what we're paying for initially is that data. And then I take those videos and then I go through every single placement that had success. And then I break down the keywords and start to see the commonality of the keywords within those popular videos where the ads were doing well. And then that's when I start scaling. And that's when we'll start the scaling processes, because now I have the information of that these keywords are the ones that are most successful for this placement campaign. And then those are the keywords that I use.
Timestamp, ladies and gentlemen, look at your video. It's 34 more minutes in. Rewind and watch the last 2 minutes, because that in itself is a 6-figure coaching strategy right there. So let me say that again. You start with placements. So in other words, for anybody who hasn't done YouTube videos before, placements are when you are literally giving YouTube a list of videos that you think your video should show up on. So you've gone in and you've typed in, you know, a competitor's name, or you've typed in a keyword specifically, you've got a list of videos, and you've said to YouTube, put my videos on these 500 videos, because this is what I'm looking for. Great. Step one, and we'll come back to that in a little bit more. So that's step one. Step two, then, going through, once we've got some data, and we're talking 30 days, once we've got some data, we're looking at the placements that have had success. So now out of 500 placements that we've asked YouTube, we've narrowed it down to 50. And now we've got 50 videos that have actually had views. And in those 50, now you're looking at keywords from those 50, and that's where you're starting to expand to actually get better and better results in the thing. I hope I haven't just given away the secret sauce, but that is unreal.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I'm really quite the control freak. And here's another thing that I do. When I'm looking for placements, I use the softwares that are out there, and there's so many amazing softwares that are out there. So I'll use the softwares, but I'm also such a control freak. And this helps me to write my copy and my scripts, is that I'll go through and actually watch or at least look at the videos that I'm going to put placements on. And then I go through the comment section.
Nice.
And I look through the pain points of what's not being addressed in that video. And so that helps me with the scripting for the future. And then I'm also looking at those keywords too, just getting, okay, maybe I want to go a little bit over in this direction for this situation. So yeah, so that's where I get all my copy ideas, is all the pain points that are within the videos that people are watching. So before I put an ad on there, I'm going through the pain points.
That'd be the second question that people ask all the time, but what should I put on a video? And that's just, again, absolute gold. So thank you. Like, that's an incredible strategy to look at your placements and look at the comments that aren't being answered. That's really, really cool. Do you have a target length for a video that you would create for an ad?
Do I have a target length for a video? I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Are you aiming for 5 minutes? Are you trying to do a 30-second? Are you, like, what's your...
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Time. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. The ads, excuse me, I try to stay around that 45-second mark, 45, maybe a minute, depending on the personality of the client. I write the scripts for the clients, and then it depends on the personality of the clients, how long I'll let them go. You know, one thing's consistent, and I'm sure you've already heard this 100 times, you know, that first 5 seconds is what you have. Get the click before the 30 seconds. You know, I find 45 seconds. Sometimes, like, there's another person out there that he likes to do 2, 3, 5-minute ads. I don't know how much success there is there. I just want to get to the click, because we're trying to get them onto our platform as quickly as possible and get them, you know, obviously into the list, and then be able to retarget them if they hit the website. Sometimes if a client has the personality pull it off, you know, the ads will actually say, if you're not this person, skip the ad.
Nice.
Yeah. So like that very first one, that's what we said. Hey, if you're not this person, go ahead and skip this ad. And well, okay, great. You decided to stick around. So now here's my offer. Click here.
A micro that they didn't even feel. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Very nice. I just love what you're dropping there with us. Do you do things like subtitles and captions? Is that an important part of putting that video ad up?
No, because I find that people that watch YouTube videos want to watch YouTube videos. So I haven't done it. Sometimes when I go into, let's say, a fluent foreign country, So let's say like Germany, right? There's affluent areas of Germany where people speak good English or good enough English, right? So when you target countries like that, it's good to have the subtitles, because maybe they speak English, but they're used to, like here in Italy, they're used to seeing the closed captioning happening.
Right.
And so in countries like that, if it's if it's America, Canada, Australia, that kind of stuff, I don't do it. I'm going to start looking at Instagram a little bit, and I noticed that on Instagram, everybody does it on Instagram. And I as a viewer of Instagram, I'm the same way. I never turn the sound on, so it's really important to have the subtitles. Whereas people that watch,
like you don't want to let anybody.
Yes, people that watch YouTube videos on mobile are watching the videos, right? Like it's a video platform, right? Yes. Like I was sitting at a cafe last night, and I don't know how many different people were watching YouTube videos on their mobile. Yeah, right. And laughing and sharing it with each other and things like that. So the sound's on, so it's not as necessary for the subtitles.
Understood. Very, very cool.
However, I will say this: the subtitles do help if you're going to do it. If you want to spend the extra money, getting it transcribed, and then letting YouTube do the subtitles is perfect. Because that helps for their keywords. Because if you just let YouTube, because by law they have to do it for the hearing impaired, so they're already subtitling your videos anyway for the hearing impaired, and it's just exactly like Siri is or any other voice activated thing. So they mess it all up. If you get it transcribed, loaded into the subtitles, it's looking for your keywords in there, and that's looking for the congruency within there. So when I used to do the Hangouts too, I'd always say your keywords at least 5 times, not in a douchey way, but say, hey, so welcome to this YouTube video where we're going to be talking about Google Hangouts, blah, 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 blah. The reason why Google Hangouts are blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. So not horribly repetitive, so that the transcription or the closed captioning could pick up your keywords, and that matched your keywords, and then YouTube likes that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Red wine's calling for you, Italy. So I've got 3 more questions, and I'm just so grateful for your time. You mentioned a couple of the tools. So question number 1 is, what tools do you use in terms of keyword research, and in terms of like, what do you have to have these tools to be able to put a campaign together?
Keywords, I just literally go into YouTube and type and let it auto finish my sentence.
Beautiful.
And then I go down the rabbit hole, and that's what I call it. When I get into research mode, I go down the rabbit hole. So I look at what the videos they're suggesting, and then I start to go down there, and then I start to pay attention to it, and then see where it's taking me on its own specific journey. And then for me, that also tells you what the viewing of a person is, and what they're looking at, and the things that they're interested that may not be related to what you originally put in there. I use for placements, like I said, I don't rely 100% on it, but I use it as, I use both. I use Gideon's and Justin's. But I don't rely on it completely. I use it to sometimes speed up the process, but most times I'll go and do it manually. Okay. And that's the thing. Yeah. I was going to develop the same software, and then when the two of them, so we were all developing the software at the same time, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't even want a horse in this race, because you know what I mean? I'm like, you guys go get it. So I love both of their softwares, and I think that they're great, but you also want to double check and make sure that the videos are what you need for your advertising.
Right. Yeah, because you can put some in that list that might be set up that way, like a marketer's created that video and is completely bringing your leads off to the wrong spot or something along that way. So,
well, that's the keyword tagging, right? So a marketer will, just keyword load like Gary Vaynerchuk and Marie Forleo and Lewis Howes and, Michael Save and it's about underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So it's not the software's fault, right? It's that people just really don't know how to keyword tag their videos.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So question number 2, when it comes to YouTube ads, and we talked about budgets before, like you've got to have a little bit of a budget to be able to win in this race. How many, like out of 10 campaigns that you put up, videos that are actually on YouTube that you've got a spend per day, allocated to them or whatever, how many out of 10 are winners and how many need to be switched off?
Well, I mean, you stay with it until they all become winners, right? So, I mean, yeah, 10 of 10, you're going to have winners eventually. It's the timeline. And that's, a part of the challenge too. Like someone came to me last week and they were like, wanted to run ads, and they've never, ever run ads on any platform before. And I'm like, I don't think you need to start with me. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Really? Yeah, well, because the person has a built-in Facebook following, and that's where all their revenue is coming from, and they have their groups and they have their pages. And I'm like, I don't think your very first ad experience should be with YouTube, because you don't have an offer page, you don't have a lead magnet, you have no data whatsoever, you don't have a funnel in place. Like, this is not where you jump into advertising, right? I mean, this is, you gotta have done something. You know, it's not necessary that you have advertised somewhere, but you just need to have some type of following. And yeah. And then I got no response, but I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to be honest with you, right? I'm not going to take anybody that I don't think we can have true success with. And if you don't have this built up already, then probably no. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, 10 of 10 is the idea, just the time, how long it takes.
I understand. So you unfortunately have sparked a fourth question, so I'm going to have to go with that. When people are running ads successfully, what sort of funnel do you suggest as the best movement forward? And I know that's going to be product specific, but do you suggest going from ad to sales page, or ad to landing page, or ad to webinar sign up? Like, from the click on the video, are you taking them to a longer video? Are you taking them to a squeeze page? Like, what's the ideal flow in your experience?
Yeah, so I'll give you this story, and I use this all the time. You have to realize that YouTube is ice cold interruption traffic, right? So a person is on a certain desire path, and you just screwed with their day, right? So they're already angry with you, right? Like, so just go from there. Like, you know how we're always trying to build a know, like, and trust, right? But like, okay, fine, I'll click it. You know, Facebook is, you know, curiosity traffic. Someone's scrolling through, they see a headline, and they're curious about it at least. But YouTube is ice cold interruption traffic. You just mess with their day.
Right.
So you're not taking the, you know, because they just met you, right? And they're like, oh, okay, I'll click it because that was compelling enough of an offer. So then from there, I would go to some, you know, either a lead magnet or to a webinar registration page so that you have a chance to build up that relationship with the people. I mean, that's the biggest thing, really. And then also when you're doing that, you're setting up, you know, a retargeting campaign. And then that's where, if you have a good list and you can load that into Google, I'd start out for retargeting. If you're just starting off, I would start off with that. If you have a decent sized list of hyper buyers,
as in
go that
retargeting, upload them into a custom audience and retarget just the existing list. Yeah, cool, nice.
Yeah, because you want to warm them up a little bit.
I love you, and I think you're amazing. And so my last question to you is, can you pitch me something? Where can people find out about you? How can they follow Brandee Sweesy? How can they send you bucket loads and tons of money? Where can people find out about you?
My website's down right now, so I did not come on this interview to pitch anything. You can find me. I mean, I'm sure you've tagged me. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. It's my name at all of those. I have a business page too. I've been doing this too long. I don't even have a website right now. Because everybody comes by referral. If somebody really wants to talk to me, they should contact you, and then you can put them in contact with me. Yeah, probably shouldn't do an interview without having some kind of pitch offer.
No, that's all there it is. That just shows the strength of the brand, where it all comes from referrals. Brandee, thank you so much for your time. We're 45 minutes in. And I am just absolutely thrilled. The nuggets that you've dropped through, I am going to be going back through this. Guys, if you're watching this, I've already gone through the replay, all right? Because I'm going through this replay before I get it to you. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. You're just a gem.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, see you on the next one.